Good afternoon and welcome to the grand finale of the inaugural Challenges Online. This has been a grand experiment forced upon us really by the COVID situation, but it's led to a new way of doing things that you're going to hear about this afternoon. We're going to hear from various groups that have been working on challenges in Challenges Online, and we're going to hear shortly from the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Education, Tim Quine. But first of all, I'd like to introduce to you my two very capable comperes, Dave Hodgson, give him a wave, Dave, and Natalia Lawrence. You will be pleased to hear that you will only be seeing them and not me subsequently after you've seen the video from Tim Quine. But before I do that, I just want to say briefly what I've been very proud of so far in what I've seen. Students have really worked together despite the difficulty of working online. In some ways, I think it's made them even more productive, and the normal collaborative activity that we have with grand challenges has been amplified even more, and I think the outputs I've seen have been fabulous. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the ones that we're going to see this afternoon, which are essentially the winning challenges, winning inquiry groups from each of the challenges. First of all, though, we're going to see this video from Deputy Vice Chancellor for Education, Tim Quine.
On to the final stages of Challenges Online. Is Tim Quine, and as Deputy Vice Chancellor for Education, absolutely delighted to be speaking to you this afternoon and joining the celebrations of the work that you've done this week. With us virtually this afternoon, we have a great number of more than 400 students who've actively participated in Challenges Online. This includes students from our partners at the University of South Florida in the United States and the University of Mannheim in Germany. Welcome to all of you. Welcome also to family members, colleagues and collaborators who play an integral part in the programme. These include 35 postgraduate facilitators, 12 student representatives and many external partners who volunteered their time and expertise. Your input is enormously valued by our students. I hope you all have the opportunity to celebrate the outcomes of the great collaboration that you've engaged in this week. Challenges and Challenges Online epitomise what university is about. Learning together, making discoveries, changing the way we think, and then sharing those insights to make the world a better place. The programme brings together undergraduates, postgraduates, academics and external experts to do just that, to work in partnership, take a fresh look at real-world challenges, and create innovative solutions. Especially pertinent in these extraordinary times, when daily we see the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic on every aspect of our lives and those of people the world over. When we consider our own responses to the fundamental issues of inequality and prejudice in our own country, city, university and lives that require there to be a Black Lives Matter movement, and enact our personal, local, national and global responses to the climate and environment. These make all the more importance of coming together to tackle challenges that require disciplinary solutions and personal action. I urge you all to take inspiration from your partnership in online and recognise that through such events, the ideas you develop here, the ways of thinking this week, you can all bring about change. The range of challenges addressed this week the most significant factors influencing our society: the climate and environment, loneliness and mental health at universities, fighting fake news, and food security and sustainability. Current circumstances meant that our usual on-campus Grand Challenges Week is not possible. However, it's really exciting to see what is achieved in its place. All week, participating, collaborating globally across time zones, boundaries and cultures. It's inspiring to see what we've all been able to do this week, new ways of working, and it's a great provocation to us when we're thinking and planning for blended learning and teaching next year. All of the teams have developed a really impressive range of outputs, which we're going to hear about in a few minutes. Let me give you a few highlights. In the Fighting Fake News Challenge, students have a variety of creative approaches to explore fake news impacts on public understanding of vital topics, including the Black Lives Matter movement and the coronavirus pandemic. They've received online platforms deal with or enable the spread of fake news. And one of the groups has worked on a platform available to all schools to be a central hub for pupil education about fake news, with a special focus on pupils at an age before they start using media. In the Food for Challenge, one team has explored the impact of on our carbon footprint at individual and institutional level, and developed a plan to encourage the community to put information about the carbon footprint on all packaging and menus. We must take forward to the university's Environment and Climate Policy Board. In the Environment Emergency Challenge, students Climate Communication Masterclass with Oliver, the Economist, and Leo Hickman of Carbon Brief, who are both fantastic long-term supporters of Grand Challenges. They also participated in a tripolar climate on mitigation versus adaptation and geoengineering with University College, Stuart Barr, Saffron O'Neill and Jim Hayward. One of the projects coming out of this challenge has been the website in English, Portuguese and Spanish. Again, it's an educational site and it's there to debunk climate. It's a great example of what these projects are to achieve. Finally, in the Lone Mental Health Challenge, students have addressed and created solutions for a really important sector-wide challenge, preventing violence at university. One example is Friendly, an app designed by students to help everyone feel connected and less lonely. This will be a real interest to the Student Staff Experience and Wellbeing Group, led by the University's Professor Janice Kay, who is the founder of the programme, who are thinking about how we can use digital technologies to support a sense of connectedness and well-being. Right across the spectrum, it's absolutely clear that you're tackling genuinely grand challenges, relevance at the global scale, as well as more locally within and our communities. It's clear the great range of creative, innovative exploration of these pressing issues that you've been inspired to think creatively. And I'm sure you've been challenged personally. It's also certain that through your participation in this programme, you're preparing yourselves really well for next year. And you've been developing your capacity for independent learning and your presentation, leadership and negotiation. You've tackled complex problems with creativity and you've gained broad understanding that you fit into global issues. What's more, you've also made friends around the world and had fun. The rest of this virtual event will celebrate what you've achieved this week through your exciting and innovative project. But before we get on to that, I'm sure all our will want to join me in offering our special thanks to external guests and partners, and the academic staff and students who've inspired and supported you to tackle these challenges and been instrumental in making this week happen. Finally, thanks to Professor Peter Cox and Simon Pardo and the Grand Challenges team, and all of the student representatives, for all your hard work in organising this really spectacular week and supporting all the challenges. Congratulations to all of you on making Grand Challenges Online such a tremendous success. I'm inspired and proud of everything that you have achieved together, and I thank you fully and from the bottom of my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finale of Challenges Online 2020, brought to you by all the campuses of the University of Exeter and all its staff and students. This finale is very much the tip of an enormous iceberg, and if you've been involved, anyone who's been involved in the climate and environmental crisis challenge will know that that is a rapidly melting iceberg. I want to thank the two polar bears who sit on top of that iceberg looking rather worried. Simon Pardo, the Challenges Online project officer, and Anka Djordjevic, the program manager. an extraordinary amount of hard work has gone on behind the scenes to make this all possible and to bring Challenges Online to you all. So thank you to Simon and Anka. The school of very talented fish that are swimming around the rapidly melting iceberg are the student representatives, the postgraduate facilitators, the professional service colleagues who have really worked incredibly hard together all week long to support the students as they perform their challenges online. All of their names will be recognised in the credit roll at the end of this finale extravaganza. And to stretch the analogy just slightly too far, the enormous population of krill feeding the fish and the polar bears are the students who've taken part. I'd really want to congratulate all of you for all of the hard work that you've done. We're going to see just a few of the outputs students have achieved, but this is just a small fraction of the incredible Challenge Online outputs delivered in just 5 days by an extraordinary group of interdisciplinary and collaborative students. You all. I'm going to hand over to Natalia Lawrence, who's going to help me co-host this grand finale. Thanks, Natalia.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everybody. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our first challenge today. So we're going to hear about the 4 challenges that have been the theme of this week. So the first challenge is fighting fake news. This challenge was led by academics from the College of Social Science and International Studies and the Business School, and also the Q-Step Centre, who specialise in quantitative research methods. Like all the challenges, fighting fake news began by explaining the scale of the problem, which is a scary thing to think about. Over the week, the 130 students working on it met amazing experts on the front line of the fight against fake news, and at the same time they were working hard on their own outputs. Creativity has really been key to the outputs this week, and while some of the students took paths such as tackling specific topics like Black Lives Matter, others thought a bit about how platforms in general deal with or even enable the spread of fake news. Online is where the war on truth is being waged, and the students have risen magnificently to the task of operating in that arena. The fight against fake news is just beginning, and the students have shown this week that they are ready to lead it. Let's hear a bit about what they've been getting up to this week.
So our project is a short series of podcasts to inform people of the history of fake news and how we tackle it and can tackle it in the future.
We're looking at the effect fear levels have regarding coronavirus and how that changes the consumption of fake news.
Creating a policy brief aiming at interdisciplinary overhaul of the UK curriculum to incorporate critical thinking in order to uphold democracy in these times of widespread misinformation.
So our project is on the history of modern fake news, its origin and how it's developed over time.
Hi everyone, we are doing a ministerial submission combating disinformation.
Particularly focused on the social media platform Facebook in times of election.
We're working on combating misinformation on social media, and we're doing this by putting an icon next to a post whether it's verified information and having a report function where people can test if something is true or not true.
Our focus is misconceptions around the Black Lives Matter movement, and our policy suggestion is that the university should try implementing an awareness raising action day around Black Lives Matter.
We want to produce a podcast series which will aim to debunk some myths in the media, educate people about why fake news can be damaging, and amplify voices left out from corporate newsrooms.
We are formulating a policy brief which hopes to enable children to critically engage with fake news and political media. We are proposing the creation of a platform which equips children with the skills to challenge misinformation and the biased news.
Our group project is how can large technology companies better tackle abuse and misinformation, as well as still ensuring there's a public debate.
Our group is looking to see how to reduce the effects of fake news in social media posts.
How have the design of Twitter algorithms shaped the democratic debate?
Up to now, we have finished 80% of the task, which is our topic, to find the people who are the most susceptible to misinformation and fake news.
We have created a fact-checking app
called Reality Checker, which assesses the accuracy of statistics used in political events.
Our team is working on an app proposal that could help the public identify fake news across the online world. We are proposing a system that would focus on videos and check their validity.
A roadmap for a society which will help prevent the spread and prevention of fake news and misinformation. Notably, we're going to outline a strict editorial process and a typical year plan for the society.
Welcome to our presentation, in which we are proposing a Black Lives Matter Action Day suitable for institutions of all shapes and sizes, and tackling one of the most important issues which faces the modern world. Our goal is simple: to educate and enlighten people about the struggles faced by Black university students and to counteract the misconceptions and fake news which crowd our media. Following the George Floyd murder on May 25th, the BLM movement has become more important than ever. And as only 1 in 4 people who took our survey were sure they'd been educated about issues linked to the BLM movement, this means 75% of us are easy targets for fake news.
With our survey of 583 participants, 73.7% were either unsure or agreed with the statement that they had seen fake news about the movement circulating around in the news, which relates to our previous figure of only 25% having been educated on these issues. One way we intend to combat this is through our Action Day. Here, the most popular event turned out to be a Black public speaker and a lesson on the Black experience, both receiving 117 votes each. It is through utilizing such enriching experiences that 78.1% of our participants want to be kept informed in how the institution is combating racism after these days are held. And if that's not enough to solidify our policy uptake, we've compiled a word cloud utilizing our participants' answers whether an action was a good way to create positive change in the movement. And to use these words, it is through bringing people together to educate on this important topic of change, to put words into action and create a positive impact that will help us manifest the societal shift that we all desire.
Due to the results of our survey, we felt it highly beneficial to implement an annual action day to demonstrate a tangible effort on behalf of the universities to support the Black Lives Matter movement. The day will be a series of public speakers, breakout sessions, and focus groups to help educate all participants about the issues of the BLM community.
The Action Day is needed to raise awareness about the experiences of Black students on campus. It will help to create a more inclusive environment and cultivate meaningful discussions about race in a safe space.
Oh, sorry, darling.
We have also created 2 infographics as a resource to be used at our Action Day, as well as a tool to address misinformation. On the first page, we wanted to refute some of the most popular myths against the Black Lives Matter movement and misconceptions that have been fueled by fake news. In the age of misinformation, we believe it is important to have access to credible and reliable information, especially when it comes to socially pertinent issues like race. The second page of our infograph is a source list that people can use to support the Black Lives Matter movement alongside the wider fight against racial injustice. We have also included a section specifically for students, as we wanted to provide more detailed guidance on how the university and its students can fight fake news and initiate change on campus. The infographics are a good starting place for those who want to educate themselves on Black Lives Matter and racism more widely, and for those who need extra resources to continue to affect change. We wanted to ensure the infographics would work at a multi-platform level, and we've been able to utilize them in this way by posting them to our Instagram account that we have created in support of our proposed Action Day.
We're using Instagram as an interactive platform where students can find resources to become better allies in the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, these resources are informed by our survey results. So, for example, our survey indicated that people were interested in learning about Black history. So we're going to incorporate that into our Instagram. And now, feedback from our Instagram in the form of submissions, direct messages, and comments will inform our future content.
Instagram enables us to discuss current issues and events. We hope to maintain our Instagram to promote sustainable allyship beyond Grand Challenges Week and our Action Day. We hope to achieve this by focusing on finding realistic statistics and facts based on current issues and events that occur in England, as well as globally, and ironing out any misconceptions about racism that might arise. Thank you for listening.
Hello? I can't hear anybody. Can anyone else hear?
Video blog, I believe it might be called a vlog by the youth of the world, from Lisa Harris, who is the Director of Digital Learning for the University of Exeter's Business School. The reason this vlog exists is because everybody is learning from this Challenges Online experience. Universities are places of shared learning. Academics share learning with students, and students share their learning with academics. So Peter Cox has referred to Challenges Online as an experiment this year. And it is an experiment because we've never done it before, and we are all learning and have learned over the last 5 days what is possible in this online environment. It's been a very successful experiment, and Lisa Harris's vlog is here to tell us how successful it's been, but also to tell us what we're going to learn from it to help support what is going to happen in the next academic year. None of us are entirely sure what COVID-19 implies for higher education and university study. So we have to be ready for various eventualities. And here is Lisa talking about what is possible.
Hello. The students have been working hard on their projects all week. They've been contributing from all over the world, from Japan to America, in fact. Now, we're going to be studying very closely the feedback from the students to inform the production of our programs for next year. But in the meantime, as they've only just finished, we hope you will enjoy this short video, which shows some of the highlights of the week, including some lighter moments. Enjoy.
I think it's been a pretty good kind of format, environment to do this through. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Nice.
Working around the climate change topic was very nice because it's something I was always interested about, and working on a project to do something about it has been really interesting.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm working on XConnect as well, and it's been really nice to work on something that's outside of my degree subject and meet a whole new group of people and like join on something that we're all passionate about.
It's been really interesting meeting people from uni that I might not have bumped into otherwise, and it's been a really good opportunity to get involved with online learning, which will hopefully help set us up for next year.
This is the start of a series looking at washing. Washing. Green wash. Oh.
Okay, so that was a nice summary of the whole week, and now we're going to go to our second challenge of the week, which was loneliness and mental health. So this challenge was led by academics in the College of Humanities and the Wellcome Trust Centre for Cultures and Environments of Health, along with the College of Life and Environmental Sciences. Now, despite being subject to some of the problems of connection and distance that the Student Loneliness and Mental Health Challenge actually set out to address, the 80 students working on this challenge really managed to work together well to create some truly fantastic projects. Many of them put their minds to the pressing and imposing challenges of the immediate COVID-19 pandemic, whilst others thought about the longer-term implications of loneliness. Through their commitment, creativity and collaboration, the students working on this challenge demonstrated the value of collective action on mental and relational health, and they set ideas in motion which could be genuinely transformative for their peers. They should all be very proud of themselves. Now, we want to encourage all of the people watching, especially the students who have been taking part, to please comment on social media, hashtag challenges online, add any comments, reflections, thoughts, feedback you want to give to what you're watching today. And now we look forward to seeing what the Loneliness and Mental Health Challenge have been up to.
It's a platform for people who are going to university for the first time, people who are already at university, and also alumni for making friends and connecting with people.
This week, our group has been working on a project to support those who are lonely by reconnecting them through playing online games.
Okay, so we have two outputs. One infographic, educational infographic, and one booklet describing different illnesses and resources.
So we're basically creating a virtual Facebook community for people to interact, and we're going to produce a weekly podcast with that.
Our app is called The Forum, which is a university-moderated social media platform that is an extension to iExeter that aims to connect students with mutual interests and hobbies.
Friendly is an app designed by students for students to help everyone feel more connected and less lonely at university.
This is our team, and we're creating a resource where people can find help for their mental health through signposting them to resources they might not otherwise be aware of. Project is called Your Exeter Family, and basically we're just making a family system to allow people to connect virtually when they come to university despite the COVID-19 restrictions.
We're creating a society called ConnectX, which is a peer-led initiative supporting students in reconnecting with university life.
So our output is an alternative website that would probably go alongside the wellbeing service, but we feel like we want to make it a more approachable website.
We are creating a business proposal for a team of student volunteers who will contact those in quarantine or away from campus for any reason during this pandemic, and talk to them and signpost them to any other services.
It's a fresher pack that with movies and books recommendation, as well as some shops and groceries around you.
Developing an app to help students connect better on campus.
Welcome to Friendly, the app designed to help students feel more connected at university. Friendly was created as a hub for students to connect to each other, either by volunteering to support their peers or as a network to obtain support and advice. We wanted to empower students to reach out, so Friendly's messaging design connects students with relatable peers on their campus, along with motivational content and details of professional services.
The interface is minimalistic and user-friendly, as we wanted the user to navigate easily through the functions of the app. When they open the app, the user is taken to the login page and invited to sign up if they don't have an account. After signing up, they are taken to the About Me form, where we have included sections for personal details and for the support they required, as well as a list of topics they want to avoid discussing about. The latter are the only ones that are public by default, but users can choose how private they want the information to be on the My Profile page. The details provided here are also the criteria based on which users can select who they want to talk to. After logging in, they are taken to the main menu that has three options: talk to a friend, speak to a professional, or quick fixes. There is also an option for the user to go to his profile, where he can change personal details, give feedback, or access frequently asked questions. The Talk to a Friend page allows users to either make a friend or be a friend. Selecting Make a Friend will pair you with a listener who will be able to see the topics you've chosen in the What Do You Want to Talk About tab. Selecting Be a Friend will connect you with someone who is in need of someone to talk to. There will also be a Preferences tab where the users can select their preferences based on the information provided in the My Profile page. Previous chats can also be revisited. The app connects users based on their preferences and asks whether they want to chat anonymously or not. If they choose no, the university email address will be displayed. This way, the users can verify each other on Outlook, and the user knows exactly who they are talking with. The chat has the option to turn on and off anonymous mode and ask the users to rate their experience after 20 minutes. If the conversation doesn't last for that long and the user closes the app, they will be asked again next time they open it.
In this part of the app, there are 6 sections. Within Feel Inspired, there are motivational quotes to inspire our friendly users. Within Good News, we report on positive global issues. Let's Meditate has pre-recorded meditation exercises. Tips and Tricks has tips for how to control feelings of loneliness. Fancy a Giggle contains funny and cute images to cheer people up. And the Progress section is a great way to keep track of how often you're using friendly mechanisms to support your well-being.
At the top of the screen will be a tile to request a callback from a wellbeing advisor, so that if the person needs immediate help, they don't have to go searching for it. There will then be tiles for support with anxiety, bullying, depression, eating disorders, men's mental health, LGBTQIA+, relationships and general mental health support. These tiles will subsequently lead to the contact details for support resources. Friendly engages users by sending regular notifications and monitors their ratings so that it rewards those with consistent 5 stars with a voucher for local businesses and deactivates the Be a Friend membership of those with more than 5 0 stars. This motivates users of the app to be respectful and friendly whilst making sure everyone can still seek support if needed. Users with more than 10 0-star ratings will have their accounts deleted because we would consider that they use the app maliciously.
Safeguarding is taken into account as users can rate their listener, and those who have consistently low ratings may have their account restricted to only accessing the Make a Friend option. Words intended to cause offence are censored. Students set up their accounts using their university email and cannot make multiple accounts, meaning that those that are restricted cannot continue using the app for negative purposes. Users can also report accounts, and resources for Bullying UK are provided.
The marketing strategy for Friendly is based on 4 key elements: audience, digital, events, and supporters. All of these components aim to promote the Friendly app and spread the word about preventing loneliness at university. Our ideas include using the hashtag #FriendlyConnection on social media, creating an Instagram page, and advertising the app through university services such as the Wellbeing Centre.
We have created a wide range of flyers as part of Friendly's marketing, each tailored to be placed at different parts of campus. With close connections to both Finance and Technology Society and Exeter University Netball Club, we have a good opportunity to spread awareness of the app throughout the university. Societies and clubs will be encouraged to promote Friendly when students pay for their memberships at the Freshers' Fair.
We conducted research amongst our network at the university, which, as shown, brought positive feedback and good suggestions for future development. Our respondents thought that the app's concept and functionality was great, offering choice and a more direct solution for students. Students found that this app would be especially reassuring for new first years, but we are taking on board comments regarding appropriate training and regulations for future development and expansion.
So there you go, folks. We have now seen 2 extraordinary outputs from the winning outputs from 2 of our challenges online for 2020. If you've just joined in, this is the tip of the iceberg of an awful lot of work, effort, collaboration and learning that has happened over the last 5 days, ably organised by the Challenges Online team, ably supervised by postgraduates and professional service facilitators, but delivered by the students. We're streaming live on YouTube. We would love it if you could post comments, but also ask questions in the chat line of the YouTube channel. The university's top brass is present and watching and commenting, so try to keep your language a little bit clean, but also try to drown out their voices. Part of my task is to try to synthesize and distill some of the comments that are coming through on the chat, which is proving impossible because it's coming through just simply too thick and fast. So I've done some clever research shenanigans on my desktop, and I've made a word cloud of everything that's going on. I'm going to try and get it on the screen. These are the words that are coming through, and I've pointed arrows to something absolutely essential. #challengesonline. Please use every ounce of your social media power to spread the message about Challenges Online. Natalia, I'm going to hand over to you for the next challenge.
Okay, before we do that, we'll just read out a couple of the comments. So our Vice-Chancellor, Steve Smith, said that the first challenge video, where's the comment gone? Right. Talking about Lisa's vlog, that it shows what can be done working across countries and with different expertise. Especially at the last minute, you know, none of us really had any training in how to do this, and the students really stepped up to the plate and got to grips with it very quickly. Someone else said that they thought that the project looked very inspiring and they hoped it would be shared with Spotlight. So maybe some local news can get involved with us looking at fighting fake news. Okay, so now so please keep the comments coming. Now I'm going to present the third exciting challenge that we've been working on this week, and that is the climate and environment emergency. Now this involved about 100 students and was led by academics from all of the university campuses, including Streatham, Penryn, St Luke's and Truro. And this included people from the College of Engineering, Maths and Physics, from the College of Life Sciences and the College of Medicine and Health. So this challenge focused on how the climate emergency can be addressed through things like the university trying to achieve net zero carbon emissions. It also looked at the relationship between climate change and human health, which is where, of course, medicine came in. And again, as with previous years, this challenge has really been a huge success. So during the week, students really embraced the online nature of the challenge this year, of course, and they managed to create online friendly outputs such as websites and podcasts. And some of these really seem impactful and as if they could make a real difference. So let's see a little bit of what people in the Climate and Environment Emergency Challenge have been working on this week.
Hi, so we're creating electronic advertising boards to help raise awareness for sustainability and spread the word about renewable energy on campus.
We are creating a proposal for an app and social media campaign to track and record your recycling on the University of Exeter campus.
Our project is a series of interactive storybooks for kids, which will educate them on different areas of the climate. They'll be able to make decisions throughout these stories and will explain what their decisions mean in terms of impact on the environment.
So our output is a social media campaign to educate students on carbon footprint of food, and our goal is to get the uni to put on all of the food they sell how good their carbon footprint of that product is.
We've created a website that aims to share a diversity of stories about climate change in preparation for the next UN climate conference called Climate Crunch.
We are creating a podcast to debunk common climate myths.
Our output will be a proposal to introduce a broadcasting service in rural communities in Bangladesh to provide health information.
So we are hoping to raise awareness and educate our audience on greenwashing through a podcast and social media outlets such as Instagram, Twitter, etc.
So we are composing a letter to the university with some proposals, as well as producing some posters for students and staff to raise awareness and give some ideas on how we can reduce energy usage.
We have designed an app to track the spread of mosquito-borne diseases in correlation to the changing climate.
we are creating a video combining 6 clips combating 6 climate myths.
So we created an educational and interactive website for secondary school students to learn about urban sustainability.
So we designed a website which is translated into 3 languages designed to be educational and debunk climate myths.
We are proposing the installation of a large-scale water source heat pump sourced from the River Exe to replace the current heating system used on the University of Exeter campus.
So we have made a video and an article to analyse the decisions made by world leaders, as well as the policies made and the lack of climate policies, in order to motivate students and help a movement begin.
We've created a website and a summary document for policymakers to manage climate-related risks to agriculture.
So we've designed a website and created a game as an educational tool to help explain the issues facing our UK coastlines and some of the management strategies.
We have created an awareness campaign and a website to educate people on the impacts of the agricultural industry on land use, specifically focusing on dietary choices.
Hi everyone, today we're going to show you our interactive climate storybook for children called Save Our Chocolate. Our idea is a series of interactive Save Our books which will educate children about the environment. You can see a list of topics we plan to cover in these books on the slide right now. Each book will have a mentor who will guide the child through the story as they make different decisions, and we will educate them on what their decisions mean for the environment. The research we conducted for this book includes researching the ingredients for chocolate and researching where those ingredients come from and different methods of obtaining them. We will be educating children about how their decisions which they make in the book will be impacting the environment in different ways.
The narrative is based on the idea that the reader is starting their own chocolate company. They are able to make their own decisions and learn about the more environmentally friendly options available for production. It also introduces some of the reasons why people choose less environmentally friendly methods, such as financial factors. We chose chocolate because we wanted to focus on something that would appeal to a number of children. More than 2/3 of people across the globe say they can't imagine a world without chocolate. To guarantee the future of certain ingredients, climate change needs to be confronted.
We wanted to keep the format of a choose-your-own-adventure book where the main character is you, the reader, so the main character hasn't been illustrated. Having no character drawn means you can have a first-person point of view and it involves you more in the decision-making. It makes the reading more inclusive, relatable and direct. The mentor character, the climate chocolatier, is a man who comes from the future and has seen what the world will look like. He acts as a guide for the reader with little information bubbles and explanations on climate change, deforestation, the ingredients or the countries where they come from.
We decided to have illustrations on every page of our book, which are all hand-drawn digitally by me. For the climate chocolatier, his design was initially inspired by Willy Wonka as the classic chocolatier figure. I gave him a futuristic touch with metallic-coloured hat, boots and gloves, chocolate buttons to show his association to chocolate, and a globe on his belt for climate change. For all of the illustrations in the book, I used a simple art style to appeal to children, with a bright and cohesive colour palette.
The main part of the book consists of the 3 different ingredients the child will need to make the chocolate: milk, cocoa, and sugar. To ensure a book provides a global perspective on food production, these 3 ingredients will be found in 3 countries, in which a choice between a sustainable option regarding the ingredient and a less sustainable option will be made by the child. So the first country is Britain, since this is where target audience is located, and here we can see a choice between plant-based milk and the less sustainable cow's milk. So say the child chooses plant-based milk, that will take them to an explanation which will contain facts and figures. The same process will be repeated for Indonesia, where cocoa will be found, and Brazil, where sugar will be found. And for Indonesia and Brazil, the choices will relate to fair trade or non-fair trade.
So here we have the page showing the finished chocolate bar, and this is where the child has their last decision. They have to choose what packaging they want to use. So for example, if they choose the new and sleek packaging, it takes us onto a page that describes that even though this may be a more high quality finish, the materials that are used are actually non-recycled, and this is quite harmful for the environment in terms of deforestation to create the paper for the actual packaging. However, they could choose instead the dull and brown packaging, and the mentor then goes on and explains that even though this may not be quite as interesting to look at, it's much better for the environment because it's made from recycled paper and it is biodegradable. So here we reach the end of our book, and we can see the successful chocolate stall. And at this point, we just reiterate the importance of the choices that the child makes and how these really do affect the environment.
We believe that children are the future, and we wish to educate them about their environment through the Save Our series in order to hopefully implement a change for the climate. We endeavour to have our interactive storylines used in schools to educate children about the impact which our choices have on the environment. In addition, we envisage to utilise social media in order to gain a wider audience and illuminate our cause of saving the environment. Proceeds from this book will be donated to an environmental charity. Thank you for watching.
Another extraordinary example of something that can be achieved in a very short space of time. It's worth reflecting, I think, on the fact that these interdisciplinary groups of students from across all departments and across all campuses of the University of Exeter, many of them met for the first time at 9 AM on Monday morning. And by lunchtime on Monday had decided in what direction their project might travel. By the end of Thursday, they had delivered these outputs. So just looking to the message, I mean, it's extraordinary, but looking to the message line, there's some phrasing that can be associated with that, coming from our education leaders. Rob Freethy leaves a fantastic quote for us. So much evidence of the potential of Exeter graduates to be global change agents, which is exactly what we want for them and what we think they are capable of. Tim Quine, Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Education, uses a fantastic phrase. He's impressed with the actionable outputs. Now, what we like to think is that all of the outputs from the Grand Challenges have a life beyond just this week. And so the University of Exeter is going to support, to the best of its ability, student groups who think that their actionable outputs actually could continue to help improve the world, not just for students at the University of Exeter, but for the entire population of the world and our climate. I'd like to encourage everybody to browse the YouTube chat line, to post comments of congratulation and awe, but also to ask questions, because we have a question and answer panel at the end of this grand finale showcase. So we'd love to start hearing some questions from you that we can pose to our panelists. I'm going to hand over now back to Natalia. Thank you, Natalia, to introduce the fourth challenge.
Thank you, Dave. And so last but not least, we're going to hear from our final challenge, Food for Thought. So this is really about sustainable and healthy food and how we can all have a healthy and sustainable diet. So you might be a bit confused and think you've already heard from Food for Thought, because as you can see, there's a huge amount of crossover between many of our challenges. So people working on climate and environment emergency end up doing a project really focused on food, and lots of people working on food end up really considering the environmental impact of food and how the climate change is affecting food production. So in our challenge, we were led by academics from the College of Life Sciences, from psychology, from biosciences, and also from the business school. Our bunch of 70 foodie students came to the challenge very well prepared, having already resisted the sunshine to complete our free online course on food sustainability. The online chat rooms and the virtual whiteboards with virtual post-it sessions were soon buzzing with activity on the Monday as the students worked hard to whittle down many ideas into 16 tangible projects. These included apps and cookbooks to encourage healthier and more sustainable eating, podcasts on agroforestry, technical solutions for grain storage, policy proposals and local networks to reduce food waste, and social media campaigns and petitions calling for a more resilient UK food supply. The target audiences for our group's outputs were really diverse. They ranged from cookbooks to targeted at under fives in the UK to subsistence farmers in Africa, and even targets directed at our own MP, Ben Bradshaw. The students worked really hard across time zones, across disciplinary boundaries, and even across cumbersome tech issues. They managed to produce original and important outputs in just a few days with people they'd never met before, and never met in person, and without ever leaving their house. This is a fantastic achievement and really does give us hope for the future of food and the future of humanity. Let's hear a little bit about what the Food for Thought students have been up to this week.
Our project is to create a website that will act as a community hub for the charities in Exeter that are attempting to tackle food poverty and insecurity.
We're creating an app paired with a sticker system to educate on the impacts of food production and to promote sustainability.
We've been working on an app to help UK farmers' resilience against climate change.
So we are looking at the problem of food waste, and we're making a podcast of 3 episodes debunking myths.
So we're doing a student cookbook, which is aiming to get some students and help them in first year with cooking, making it a more sociable activity.
Our app is aiming to help students take those initial steps towards the Eat Lancet diet in order to reach a more sustainable diet for the future.
Okay guys, so the app we're creating on sustainability, do you think people will be able to check how their food choices are becoming more sustainable, or will...
Hi, our project is giving supermarkets an environmental rating.
Hi, we've created a label to rate food products on their sustainability.
Hi guys, our group designed a prototype app which looks at the environmental impact of the supply chain of items in food production.
We're pitching a novel tech idea to a charity. It's a product for storing grain for subsistence farmers.
Hi, we're Cookbook B, and our idea is to produce a cookbook that allows people to access micro and macro nutritional data as well as carbon footprint data.
So we're working with a non-profit organisation called Kids Kitchen. Kids Kitchen do teach about kind of plant-based recipes aimed at 2 to 5 years old, and we're developing some educational resources for them.
We're doing a podcast on agroforestry
aimed at farmers.
Okay, so we're working on a social media campaign and also a podcast to raise awareness on the UK food supply chain issues that have been exacerbated by the coronavirus.
Yeah, so basically, we're creating a manifesto that we're going to deliver to our local MP, Ben Bradshaw, looking at creating sustainable and equitable solutions to the food system.
Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation on food security and the benefits of novel technologies. So we decided to delve into the issue of food waste in sub-Saharan Africa and to try and create something new and different that we can implement in order to benefit them in real life scenarios.
Most farmers in Africa are smallholders or subsistence farmers who face a number of problems as lack of information, poor financial support, and lack of crop storage facilities and conditions. Our group decided to focus on the latter due to the significance of the current problem for the African farmers. According to the National Research Council, African countries lose a quarter of their annual income due to crop poor storage, costing African nation more than $332 billion annually. Existing technologies do extend crops' life, however, are not sufficient enough as a global problem solution. For instance, big storage silos require large initial investment and seem to have safety risks, while hermetic bags bring more harm to the environment in terms of pollution rather than benefit in storage.
So, storing grain effectively is a way to make subsistence farmers more successful. And although there are some methods out there to keep harvests in good condition, they're not perfect solutions. We wondered if there was a better way, something which was maybe close to the traditional farming culture but improved it with a modern technique. Our idea is based on the centuries-old method of the underground grain pit, which is still used in Africa. Its big disadvantage is that once opened, all the contents must be removed. So we borrowed the hermetic concept from the plastic bags and devised a hermetically sealed pit, which could be opened and closed again whenever some of the grain needs to be removed. The plastic-lined pit has a lid with a valve, which allows an air pump to be connected so the seal can be made. This new grain store is close to the cultural roots of farming traditions, so hopefully would be easily accepted, but it's also versatile, efficient and sustainable.
After identifying the problem and coming up with a solution, we decided to create Hermetech, a hypothetical company pitching to a real charity, Bread and Water Africa. We have created a little video pitching our invention, the Hermet Store, patent pending, and we hope you'll enjoy it.
Welcome, we are Hermetech. We are a startup company looking to improve food security for the most vulnerable people in society. We are looking to work with Bread and Water Africa for our $20 million project in order to enhance the food storage systems that are in countries such as Ethiopia, Tanzania and Nigeria.
We created Hermet Store, a low-cost food storage system which allows subsistence farmers to easily access their grains while then being securely sealed. This utilises hermetic technology and also a solar panel pump which allows easy access, easy use and also for them to be kept safe as well. So we actually have a big focus on sustainability also. So we utilise recycled plastics rather than metals in order to create our Hermet Store, and this helps to keep costs low as well. Now please watch our video with all the information you'll need and let us know if you have any questions after as well.
Another wicked problem, another important challenge, and another fantastic output, representing just one of the many student group outputs from that challenge. Thank you to everyone involved. This is a truly global event, and in a sense it's been made even more global and even more collaborative by the fact that we are all interacting with each other on our computer screens and online from wherever we choose to have our computers or smartphones positioned. We'd like to share with you a map of the globality, if there is such a word, of our activity, clearly with some centering on the UK and on Exeter and Cornwall, but just look at that global distribution of students and facilitators sharing the Challenges Online experience with us through the week. Hashtag Challenges Online, everybody please. Use your social media prowess to spread the word of the University of Exeter's global reach. This showcase finale has a life beyond just this live stream as well. So we're using YouTube to display the videos, and there are some special treats going to be added there as well. And a life as a wall of videos, which you can visit at your leisure from now on to go in. And you might be in a different time zone and not willing to wake up to watch us live, so you might be watching this tomorrow, in which case, welcome to the Online Challenges Grand Finale Showcase. Please visit the video wall anytime to revisit this experience. We're coming close to the end. Thank you for all your comments and particularly for your questions, because we're going to do the world's best episode ever of Blankety Blank, and that cultural reference might be lost on most of the audience. We're going to go over to a panel of experts and facilitators and staff and students. And here's Terry Wogan. Sorry, here's Peter Cox.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Natalia, for your wonderful comparing. So folks, thank you for all the comments. It's been a fantastic number of comments coming through. like most of those comments say, I've been blown away with what's been produced. So students should be very proud of what they've done. So we're going to go to a group of experts now to answer any questions you've brought up. And here they are. Here's blankety blank. I've got my wand here somewhere. Hello, folks. I hope you're all doing well. So we have some generic questions that I'd like to pass on to you. And we will see if anyone wants to put their hand up to do them. Otherwise, I'll just point at somebody. So one question that keeps coming up is, what do we do next? Specifically with regard to those really promising products that have been produced in just 4 days. What might we do with those? What's the support we could provide for them? And I thought we could start, you'll love this, Anka, I thought we could start with you.
Hello, I thought you might. Can you hear me? Well, I'll just say for starters, this is not the end, because students are still with us next week, and we have put up a program for those of them who want to continue working on their projects. So that will be the first stop. From there on, there will be different routes they could go through with support from us and the university. And then I think at that point, we will just individually talk to each group, or even students individually, because they don't have to continue as a group. They can just, 1 or 2 people could take on the project. And I'll just at this point mention that actually they own the intellectual property, so they actually can do what they want with it.
So there's a question here from, probably a rather mischievous question or comment here from Natalia. Ask Dan Bieber about the Gates Foundation. So Dan, about the Gates Foundation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the hermetically sealed food storage container sounds like a really, I mean, you know, I don't know, maybe it exists already, but I think it's great. I would go straight to Bill Gates and ask for some funding, because it seems like a good idea to me, but just double check nobody's patented it already, but I think it's a really promising idea. Ask Bill, go to Bill straight off.
Okay, Bill's not on the wall, so it'll have to be you. I see Tim Quine's just joined us, or maybe he was there all along, just reappeared. So Tim, the question we just had was really how we get some continuity between what was started here, and especially from my perspective, I think we've even trumped the online grand challenges, and we thought this would be a sort of second best thing. I think it's been better, but next year we'll also want some face-to-face interaction, because we lose something from lack of face-to-face interaction. We gain lots of other things, but it feels like we're close to some sort of hybrid. And I hope it's not a Frankenstein's monster. I don't think it should be, but any thoughts on how we might combine the online and the face-to-face? Tim?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. I was a little bit lost for a minute there, because I had you speaking out of that screen over there and you were speaking out of this screen over here, so I couldn't, I was a little bit confused. But I think, as I put into the thread, you know, one of the questions that I've posed to you on a number of occasions has been, you know, what would happen if we could do this sort of learning all year round? And I think your answer has been the same each time. Actually, the students would be exhausted, and you've never said that you'd be exhausted as well. But I think that's probably a risk.
It's easy for me. It's easy.
But you're so fit, mate. So, so I think it's absolutely something we want to try and explore as we get ready for next academic year. You know, next academic year is going to be a hybrid. We're going to have a sort of blended model. So we'll be doing much more. We're going to be enhancing the online experience with exciting digital content. There's still going to be face-to-face teaching. Some of it will be like this. Some of it will be on campus. You know, we're going to be mindful of the safety of the situation in relation to COVID-19. But I think what you've done this week has been a great insight into how much more exciting it can be, and the sort of opportunities that open up when we use these sorts of technologies. I mean, one of the things that's always struck me is that our various MOOCs encourage global conversations between people. So you're on a MOOC, you're contributing to the discussion, but you don't know whether you're talking to somebody who lives next door or somebody who lives on the other side of the planet. And we've had a number of projects in the incubator, the education incubator, which is our sort of R&D part of education, looking at how we might embed MOOCs into the curriculum. And I think, you know, we're starting to get more hints of that. And I think, I guess what I'd like to know from the students present is does that sort of thing excite you? You know, we all think it sounds really fun and interesting and exciting, but what we don't want to do is suggest that we do things that you then say, oh, why would you do that? That's madness. So yeah, I'm really interested to hear other people's feedback.
Yeah, and so Natalia asked Dan, actually, I think she asked, to explain what a MOOC is.
Yes, so MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Course, and essentially ways in which learners from all over the world can join in with a learning experience delivered exclusively online. And the number of platforms, I think they kicked off in about 2012, I think, in a big way. And yeah, Exeter's been a real leader in this. The climate change MOOC, I think, was probably the first. Natalia and I put together a future food MOOC, which was essentially to support Grand Challenges last year. And must mention Beth and Stag here as well, who did a lot of work on it. But they're a really good way of starting everyone off in complex topics and encouraging discussions among learners. So it's very much learner-led kind of education, which is really good. And it seems to be working really well. So yeah, we suggested to all the to all our Grand Challenges participants that they take a look, and I hope it was useful for them.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. So Simon, as is typical of him, asked a very sensible question. I'm pleased to see we've got some students from the winning groups here. So it'd be very nice to hear your views on how things went and how we might do it better in the future, and what the values are of working online versus face-to-face. Would either of you like to speak?
Hi there, my name's Poppy. I'm from the Friendly group. We absolutely loved doing our challenge, and we met, you know, each other and people that we didn't know and would never have met before. One sort of point to build on that we found is that we wanted to do more with more people. So we loved working as a small group for a week, but we felt that one group in particular within our challenge, we could have actually combined the ideas, made a bigger group and potentially a bigger impact, and then have more sort of to go off if we wanted to take that on. So I think in future it would be great to see if we can get slightly more collaboration. I know that the maximum group size this time was 7, and we would love next time to have slightly more engagement with more of the students, but we had an absolutely fantastic time, and our coordinator Bojana was incredible. Thank you to Fred, thank you to everyone. We had a wonderful time, but yeah, more mixing with other groups and hearing their ideas and sort of feedback loops would be brilliant.
That's very interesting. I mean, one of the things we were concerned about this year was that it would be harder to develop a sense of team online, but actually I think it's the opposite. It feels like people have found it easier to interact actually remotely through these sort of media than before. So that's interesting, because I think we deliberately limited the size of groups to try and make it more manageable. But we, as Tim hinted, what we've got with online is we've got an ability to have a much larger spread than we would have had face to face. People don't have to be here; they could be in their own country. And with these global problems, you really need a global reach. So I noticed also Ginny's there, who was a facilitator on the climate challenge and did Grand Challenges last year. Ginny, do you have any views on the different challenges between online versus face-to-face facilitating?
From a facilitator point of view, I was amazed last year by how little I was needed as a facilitator, by how autonomous the people participating in the challenge were. And I think it was just even more the case this year. Everyone worked so strongly and independently that there was almost even less for me to do as a facilitator, because people just behaved really professionally, and it was really easy to divide work and for people to work individually and then bring it all together to collaborate as a team. So I was amazed how well it worked. I was slightly apprehensive, as I think everyone was, and it went really well.
Yeah, it seems to me that also what we're benefiting from now is the continuity of Grand Challenges, so that many of the facilitators actually went through it as an undergraduate, and essentially they are running the show now. We just pretend it's academics, but to me it seems to be these facilitators that have been around for a while that are actually running the show. And I think Challenge is actually turning into not just a student-led activity, but actually a student-organised activity almost as well, which may put us out of work, but it'd be cheaper for the university. So the other questions I wanted to ask. So Fred,
you're irreplaceable, Pete. So you're irreplaceable.
not in a good way. Not in a good. So Fred, I just wanted to come to you because this is your first challenge, I believe. How did you find it, being an online challenge? I think you're muted, Fred.
How's that? Is that any better? Brilliant. Sorry, I've got a little thing on my stupid big headphones that kind of allows me to double.
Thanks for it. So. Okay. I can't hear you very well, Fred.
Is that any good?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
I was just saying that it's sort of only half my first challenge because I was a postgraduate facilitator 5 or 6 years ago. So I already had a somewhat okay sense of what they'd be like.
Oh, no, sorry. Do you want to come back to me while I try and sort this out?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Fred. Sorry about the technical problems. So we have other students I'm pleased to see in this Zoom room. One of the students from Winning Group is Giam. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. What did you think about the week? How did you find it?
Yeah, good. I think working online, the good thing about that was we kind of had meetings about maybe an hour long at most, and then we just go away and kind of really just do our own thing and bring it back together. And I think that really helped to kind of build an idea that we were all comfortable with and that we all wanted to be a part of. So yeah, I think it's been a great experience. And yeah, I'd just like to thank Matt, by the way. He was great the whole week, very supportive. I think he said put our project on Kickstarter or stuff like that. And even Dan said what was it, the Microsoft Foundation thing, or the Gates Foundation. So thank you.
Do you think your group would want to carry on working on it? Maybe not at this intensity, although Tim Quine would like you to be at that intensity, but as a more manageable intensity. Do you want to carry on working?
Yeah,
on this?
Yeah, definitely. I think I even asked the rest of the group, and I think we're happy to keep working on it. We think it's a good idea anyway, and I think it'd be great to see how far we can take it, really.
Yeah, I mean, we are really, it's extraordinary to see what's produced in such a short time on this way of working. So it makes you wonder what else we could achieve in this very intense sort of, this way of problem solving. It feels like it's a way to solve these wicked problems, really, or at least begin to pick away at them. Other questions, really? Is there anyone else?
Could I abuse the Zoom chat and just ask a question? If you were doing it for credit rather than as a extracurricular, would it still be as much fun? If it was part of your degree program.
That's a good question.
I mean, I did it because I'm really interested in this kind of stuff and I want to help. But I think it'd be an interesting kind of thing for a course because it would be different. It's still academic, but it's kind of more free. So I think it'd be quite interesting to see what you could do with that in a course, really.
Great, I'm glad you said that.
So
not that it's the right answer. There are multiple answers. We'd have to find ways to make it not risky, or not too risky, because it's completely different from other academic work.
Yeah, this is a perennial question, isn't it, really, Tim? Which is, by making it credit bearing, do you remove that sort of freedom to just let your hair down a bit intellectually and work away on things, or do you actually make it more robust part of the education you get at university? So I would be very interested to hear student views on that. We always are. We're constantly reassessing this. it's quite important to work out how we make the most of this approach, and also don't sort of which requires it's embedded more in the way we do things at university in general, but also that we don't lose the special aspects of it. And I think that's a constant, ongoing dynamic thing that we have to try and work through. So we're going to wrap up very shortly, but I was just wondering if anyone else in the Zoom room who hasn't spoken would like to comment. I know that Reza's in there. I can't quite see you because you're hidden behind my chat line, Reza. I'm sorry about that. Just wondered whether you wanted to say how you found things this week. And anyone else who hasn't spoken, I'll be coming to you in a minute.
Right. I personally found it an extremely inspiring experience for myself, having just done it for once and hoping to kind of have another stab at it next year at the medical school on planetary health. So we're very, very excited about it. It's been an amazing experience how students could do in 3.5 days, putting their minds together. And on that basis, imagine what 365 days could do. So let's do it.
Yeah. Well, it's been brilliant to have you involved. In fact, we've had more academics involved this year than ever before. So there's something about being in lockdown that makes people want to do this stuff. Go slightly crazy, I suspect. But it's been brilliant. I think we've therefore got a broader engagement of academics, and Reza and Tim introducing the Climate Health Challenge has been really important. And we've also got more facilitators, and we've also got more undergraduates, I think it will turn out, although we haven't got the final numbers. But it's been a bumper year in some ways, even though for a while we thought about whether we should cancel it altogether, and taking it online has allowed us to do additional things. So sometimes necessity drives on you innovation that's really important. And I feel that we've still got to work this through, but we've found a new way to spread our net, and that's great. Are there any other people who haven't spoken who'd like to say something before we wrap up? And I would be very happy to hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good.
Hi, so my name's Brandon, and I was part of the Save Our Chocolate group. What I loved about this week was at the beginning of the week, I didn't really know what to expect, but then we got almost like chucked into our groups. We got to meet a variety of people with different skill sets, but who all shared the same passion. And I loved being able to collaborate with these people, using their skill sets to make an amazing product. And my group, in particular, are really excited to actually keep this going post-challenge online. And I think we've, because of challenges online, we've now developed some really good connections with each other. And we now have a project that we're passionate about and want to continue going forward.
Yeah, it was a really excellent. I mean, all the stuff that we saw today was excellent, but yours was especially special. So what would you need in terms of support from the university to make this happen? Keep it going.
I think as a whole, we were very good at communicating with each other and putting the product together. However, we've already spoken with the university today, as someone has already mentioned that another person had a similar project a couple of years ago. So the university is always already going to be putting us in contact with them, and we will be getting advice and support on them on how we can actually promote our book and get it known outside of obviously challenges online.
That's great. And if there's anything we can do, you might have got these contacts through Anchor and Simon, but if there's anything I can do as well, let us know. We're very keen for these things to continue where there's enthusiasm to do it. So that's fantastic. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment who's in the room who hasn't spoken yet?
Can I butt in with something completely frivolous? I mean, okay, no, I'll do a sensible thing first. Laszlo and Sharon have been absolute dreams. They've basically done my job for me, which is handy because this is a first-time facilitator. I'd never done the challenge as an undergrad, so I had no idea what I was doing. So thanks for that. But mostly, I would like to shout out for one of my groups who had an honorary member of the cat called Bella, who has just been occasionally popping up in my newsfeed as just like a highlight, while the rest of the week has been like, oh God, I'm trying to sort everything out. So keeping things fun, I think that's been really well done in a thing where no one gets to see each other. I just thought I should mention it. Bella. Yeah,
and actually, the same's also true with the challenge I was involved in, the student facilitators that just kept the whole thing moving. And I described it earlier. It was like a happy holiday bus that we were redesigning as we went along, and they just kept it moving, and that was extraordinary. I think taught me a lot about working under pressure and remaining cheerful. We started out by saying you have to enjoy the bumps in the road when you're going to get some, and I think those facilitators and the students in general did that with spade on, so fantastic stuff. Any other final comments before we wrap up?
I just quickly wanted to say, I just want to shout out the student representatives that have been working on this whole thing for weeks. And I think we've had such a great team, waking up at 6 in the morning, some of them, to make sure that the week ran smoothly, marking attendance of 100 students at a time. It's been difficult, but I think we've had such a brilliant team. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Very well said. I couldn't agree more. It's been fantastic. So thank you very much, folks. I think we will have questions that feed through that we may answer through various people that are here and outside subsequently. I think, are we going back to Dave and Natalia now? Is that it? Is it me to wrap up? Oh, good. It's you two. That's much more palatable.
Thanks.
All yours.
Thanks, Peter. The piece of paper in front of me says it's me, but it can be all of us. I would like to thank you, Peter, for being such a great figurehead and for occasionally dropping in and doing a bit of work on the side as well to help us out. It's been very handy. I would like to thank Natalia as well, who has helped to co-host this session, but of course has led one of the challenges themselves. Thanks, Natalia. And to everybody, I'm going to reuse this shared learning phrase because I like it. Perhaps I overuse it, but I genuinely feel like we have all shared learning with each other this week, and I hope that has been rewarding. Now, whether this should be outside of your degree program or within your degree program, that's a question for another time. What it has been is excellent and global and online and collaborative and powerful. So I think in no sense have we solved climate and environmental change and the crisis associated with it. In no sense have we cured loneliness. In no sense have we solved the food security problem for nearly 8 billion people on this planet, nor have we prevented the spread of fake news in the media. But in 3.5 days, we have made really quite significant progress towards the achievement of those goals. I think you should all be incredibly proud of yourselves. I'd like you all to stay with the YouTube channel and visit the video wall afterwards and visit the website, because the content there is going to continue to grow. We'll follow the lifespan of the outputs. There'll be some extra videos to look at. Questions can be answered. Please stay with it. That's the power of the online medium. You can stay with challenges online beyond the end of today. But thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, and we hope to see you in real life one day when campus reopens.